Hare Krishna. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Advaita Gadada Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Sri Radhe Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Shama Sundara Radha Shama Sundar Sri Radhe Jaya Radha Jaya 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 Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Jaya Sri Krishna Jaya Mahaprabhu Jaya Mahaprabhu Jaya Mahaprabhu Jaya Mahaprabhu Jaya Mahaprabhu Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol Nitai Gaura. Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol Nitai Gaura. Jam Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Parvacharya, Asotara Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jam Vishnupad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Namachari Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sekahosi Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadada, Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. Sri Radha Shama Sundar Ki Jai. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembly devotees. All glories to the assembly devotees. All glories to the assembly devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlada Daine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilatankanakalaye. Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha. Yato yato yami tato Narsimha. Bahir Narsimha, Hirdaye Narsimha. Narasimha Madhim Sharanam Prapate. Tavakara Kamalavare Nakama Bhuta Shingam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanuvringam Keshavadurita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Narsimhadev, Jaya Narsimhadev, Jaya Narsimhadev, Jaya Narsimhadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Nitya Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitya Gaura Haribo. Shri Narasimhadev Bhagwan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Nitya Gaura Premanande. Can you play me down? You should feature this with the Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Hare. Done any announcements also? Welcome.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Can you all please come forward? Everybody, can you please come forward? You can bring your chairs forward. And someone, Shyam, can you please close that door? On behalf of ISKCON founder Acharya, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, I would like to welcome all of you to ISKCON Naperville. Thank you all for coming. Is there anyone here for the first time? Nobody's new here. Okay, thank you. So, welcome again. I would like to introduce you to our special speaker here today, His Holiness Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Maharaj has been here in Naperville from this last Friday onwards, and he has been conducting seminar on topics related to empathic communication. And today, this Sunday Feast class, it is the last class he is doing this time. Bir Krishna Maharaj was initiated by Srila Prabhupada in 1971 and has lived impeccably to the high standards of sannyas life for the last 45 years. His dedication to Srila Prabhupada is evident by the fact that for the last 28 years, he has shouldered the heavy responsibility of being a GBC. You will be fascinated to know that he was first introduced to Krishna consciousness through Srila Prabhupada's transcendental literatures while he was an academically gifted student at Northwestern University. He was serving Sri Sri Kishore Kishori during their installation in the Evanston Temple. Under his leadership, thriving temples and communities have been established all over the world. But perhaps his most endearing quality is his sense of humor and approachable personality. Maharaj has a unique ability to connect personally with devotees. He is a certified mediator and has dedicated himself to creating more empathic communities. We are so glad that right before he commences his international travel tour to Australia and Fiji, he somehow has spared some time to visit Naperville to help us improve our devotee care initiative and interpersonal relationships. We wholeheartedly welcome Maharaj to our community. Thank you, Maharaj, for coming. Also, after this class, Maharaj is making himself available in the conference room. His books will be displayed outside the conference room. So if anybody wants to meet with Maharaj, you can go there personally, get his book signed, and have a personal conversation. Thank you again, Maharaj.
Thank you very much. Give me a second. I'm trying to get online here so I can broadcast this. Whoop, it's not working. Who knows about the internet here? Anybody know the password here? Which one is it? What's it? ITOSC office. Okay. Because he put a password in the other day. It's AV system or office? It's not working. The other day it was working well. That's the only one. The other day I was on one of them and it just somehow or other didn't remember the. You have the password? Oh, you want to go AV system? It's going to take a little bit. Somehow or other. Straight. Somehow or other just shows that. Okay. Right here. Okay. Should work. If not, it's all right. Here we go. That's really strange. You got internet there? Maybe I just need to reboot the thing. Okay, sorry for the delay. That way more people will come because we're going to get closer to Prasadam time. This is actually Krishna's trick, so we'll have good attendance. Do we have any ABCDs here? No. So few. 2 ABCDs. Okay, 3, 4. So I was hoping to give today's class about ABCDs. We will see. Otherwise, we'll just use the internet there to broadcast it. This thing is not going to work. There we go. 1 second. It's connected. Connected to someone. It's connected to your office now. That just had to reboot it. So it's no problem. You go on Zoom. Me too. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Let's- There we go. Okay, we're ready. Okay, let's get started. Jaya Radha Madhuma Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhuma Kunya Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhanahure Gopi Nanapallabha Girivardhanahure Yasodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yasodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yamuna Theravana Chare Yamuna Theravana Chare Jayarad Umadhava Punya Bihare Jayarad Umadhava Punya Bihare Gopi Nana Panapa Giri Badare Gopi Nana Panapa Giri Badare Yasodanandana Brajajana Yasodhananda Raja Jana Ranjana Yambunatera Banachare Yamunatera Banachare Jaya Radhu Madhova Kunya Bihare Jaya Radhu Madhova Kunya Bihare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol. Jaya Radha, Shama Sundar Radha, Shama Sundar Radhe. Jaya Radha, Madan Mohan Radha, Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Paravidikacharya, also Teta, Sachashi, Shimad, His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanada, Bhaktivedanta, Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shyam-Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Mathuram Ki Jai, Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Yamunamai Ki Jai, Shrimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Samaniti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gaurvani Pacharni, Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatcha, Deja Tarne. Okay, we get a mala. Just what I always wanted. I was always wondering why people applaud when you get malas, but never figured it out yet. I guess because they're honoring, and then we have 2 seats on either side for servants to fan me on. It's like a Bollywood movie, you know, 2 young girls fanning the Rakshasa sitting on the seat. So, is that Robin that sits in there and just really like that with him? Anyway, so very nice to be here. This is the first few days. Of course, I've been here a few days that I've visited ISKCON Naperville, and it's just a wonderful temple and beautiful deities and nice devotees here. I'm really impressed. Really impressed. I didn't know in such a small place as Naperville there could be a Hare Krishna temple. But it shows there's devotees, millions and millions of devotees everywhere, isn't it? Even in Naperville. I never even heard of the word Naperville before. In Chicago I heard of, but not Naperville. So we're very fortunate to be here with all you nice ladies, gentlemen, devotees, devotitas, and little devotees, and ABCDs, and EFGs. So today, Somagana Timirandasha Gananjana Shlakya Chakshur and Militam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha. We're going to give a class about A, B, C, and D, and I'm not talking about the alphabet. The alphabet, obviously goes to X, Y, Z, but just the first 4 letters. And those first 4 letters represent a large amount of young people that are very confused. So that's what the C stands for. And A stands for America, or American. B means born. C means confused. And D means Desis. It means people who are born in a family that comes from India. The parents really have Krishna consciousness, or the Indian culture, Indian society ingrained, and they've taken their children to the West, and they expect their children to be exactly the same as them, exactly the same as their grandfather, grandmother, great-grandmother, and they're shocked when they find out something's different here. What did I do wrong? So we're going to talk about that today. But first, to introduce the topic, I'm going to read from 13:22 in the Bhagavad Gita. And, that is chapter 13, verse 22, which is actually an introductory verse for this whole topic. And I'm going to read the verse and the purport. So that this is, of course, translated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and commented on by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. So we're going to go over the whole verse. I'll just read it. We won't do it responsibly. Very important verse. Purusha prakriti stohi bhungte prakritijayan gunan karnam gunasangasya sarasad janma yoni janmasu, sorry. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. And Srila Prabhupada explains that this verse is very important in understanding how the living entities transmigrate from one body to another. It is explained in the second chapter of the Gita that the living entity is transmigrating from one body to another just as one changes dress. The change of dress is due to his attachment to material existence. As long as he is captivated by this false manifestation, he has to continue transmigrating from one body to another. Due to his desire to lord it over material nature, he is put into such undesirable circumstances. Under the influence of material desire, the entity is born sometimes as a demigod, sometimes as a man, sometimes as a beast, as a bird, as a worm, as an aquatic, as a saintly man, as a bug. This is going on. And in all cases, the living entity thinks himself to be the master of his circumstances, yet he is under the influence of material nature. How he is put into such different bodies is explained here. It is due to the association with the different modes of nature. One has to rise, therefore, above the three material modes and become situated in the transcendental position. That is called Krishna consciousness. Unless one is situated in Krishna consciousness, his material consciousness will oblige him to transfer from one body to another because he has material desires since time immemorial. But he has to change that conception. That change can be effected only by hearing from authoritative sources. The best example is here. Arjuna is hearing the science of God from Krishna. The living entity, if he submits to this hearing process, will lose his long-cherished desire to dominate material nature, and gradually and proportionally, as he reduces his long desire to dominate, he comes to enjoy spiritual happiness. In a Vedic mantra, it is said, he becomes learned in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He proportionally, as he becomes learned, he proportionally relishes his eternal, blissful life. So, very, very important verse, particularly Karnam Guna Sangasha. That in this world, we have three modes of nature, which I think most of you are familiar with, right? Goodness, passion, and ignorance. And those in the mode of goodness, they like nice sunshine and mountains and nature and everything like that. Those in the mode of passion, they like the city, they like to go to the Loop in downtown Chicago, and they just love everything there, you know, the lights and the music and like that. And those in the mode of ignorance, they like the bars, you know, where people drink. I mean, and ghosts and spirits also like the bars. One of the temples that I'm in charge of is in a city called New Orleans. It makes Chicago look like the most pious place in the world. I mean, New Orleans and Las Vegas are in competition for the most mode of ignorance places in the world. So if you go there, every single, let's say, store in what we call the French Quarter is a bar or a brothel. And sometimes we go there on Harinam, and I can't tell you what happens. And if you really have some spiritual vision, you can see the ghosts hanging from the trees. Not goats, ghosts hanging from the trees, because the ghosts are very much attracted to the mode of ignorance. So these modes of nature, they affect our consciousness too, unless we're Krishna conscious. Anyone who's not Krishna conscious is affected by some combination of the modes of nature. Like these three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, usually they're mixed. Just like you have three basic colors, right? And you mix the three colors to make all the colors in the spectrum. That's why we have so many varieties in this world. Like we can go to someone and say, hey, you're 10% goodness. I'm not looking at anybody. 10% goodness, 10% passion, 80% ignorance. I mean, nobody would be completely in ignorance because they'd be dead. So there has to be a little bit, at least of passion there. You know, we say a tree is in the mode of ignorance, right? But a tree is not 100% in the mode of ignorance because it has some consciousness, very diminished consciousness. So we are affected by wherever we go, whoever we associate with, times of the day influence us. Like it's very peaceful during what? The Brahma Muhurta hour. Generally, you hear the spiritualists, you know, the serious spiritualists, they rise early in the morning. Prabhupada was up at 1 o'clock in the morning. And at least the spiritualists get up at 3 or 4 in the morning. Because if you get up later the mode of passion, you want to go to work, you want to acquire money, you want to do something practical. Of course, spirituality is practical too. And then towards the evening, then you get more into the mode. Well, first of all, there's a brief time in the evening, like right back now, where goodness sort of manifests itself again. Then later, then you get passion and ignorance. That's why people say that they want to have a good time, they do it late at night. And everything gets crazy late at night. Really crazy. I mean, if any of you have gone to the university, you know that on a Friday or Saturday night, what happens? Everyone's up late, and they're taking alcoholic beverages, if they're pious. And if they're not, anyway, obviously it's not piety. And the next one, I remember going to the university many years ago. Actually, I went to the university near here, in Northwestern University. That's in Evanston, Illinois. I went to the tech school there and studied engineering and science. And so I wasn't into drinking. I was a very good boy, very pious, ABCD. So I definitely was an ABCD. I'll explain why in a second. So very pious. And so on Sunday morning, I'd walk out of my dorm room and everybody would be lying in the halls with their mouth open. And I heard that it happens at IIT in India too. I have one disciple who went to IIT Delhi, and he told me, he said, yes, just like that in Delhi. And I asked him one time, this is before he got married. He's married to a very nice wife now. So I asked him one time, you know, can you find a nice girl to marry in Delhi? He said, no, will not happen. I'm not saying that there's no nice girls in Delhi. That's not my point. But he's from India. So it's not that I'm biased against it or anything. Of course, I'm biased against nice girls because I'm a sannyasi too. That's another issue which we won't talk about in class. But anyway, so I said, is there someone in? So he said, no. And then he revealed to me something very interesting, because they have a lot of nice preaching going on there in Delhi. So I said, all right, you got a lot of people joining, becoming devotees in Delhi. They have like a special program where they have the students, they give the students prasadam, they can stay there and associate with devotees. And they have so many people from IIT, everybody knows what IIT is. IIT is like the portal to migrate to the United States. Anybody who graduates from IIT, come here, go to the UK, go to Canada, okay. So, it's like we have, you're not from IIT, but you're from the Maharashtrian Institute of Technology, MIT. Almost as good. So basically I asked him, what sort of people join the Krishna conscious movement from IIT? I want to find out the socioeconomic classes of people. He said, generally the students who were born in Delhi do not become devotees. It's interesting. He said the students who come from the interior, he's from Bihar originally. Very nice, intelligent. He graduated top of his class in the IIT industry. So I was thinking, why is that? Because basically, racially you're the same level of intelligence and all that other stuff. Then I understood it was due to this association. Because by association, someone who is pious in the mode of goodness can become, I hate to use the word, demoniac. Give you an example of this practical thing, of association. Once upon a time, Krishna had a son. And it's a long story, but Krishna had a son by the Earth planet. And the way Krishna had a son by the Earth planet, that's Bhumi, of course. Or Bhudevi, if you go to Tirupati, you know what I'm talking about. Sri Devi, Bhudevi. So he had a son, and he did have a son through his incarnation as Lord Varaha when he picked up the Earth planet. Because Krishna can impregnate or do anything with any of his senses. Angani, Yasha, Shakalendriya, Driti, Manti. So the Earth planet gave birth, or Bhumi gave birth to this nice son. Son of Bhumi would be called Boma. And so Boma was a nice person. Yet, he started to associate with bad people. And as a result of associating with bad people, he developed really bad characteristics. He ended up kidnapping 16,100 girls. I guess if you have to kidnap girls, he's in competition with Ravana. So, Ravana, I don't know if Ravana did that many girls. But so anyway, so he kidnapped that many girls, and he, I don't know what he was going to do with them, but in any case, he was demoniac by bad association. And so Krishna had to come and kill him. His own father had to kill him because he became demoniac. And the interesting story is that Bhudevi, Bhumi, said, you cannot kill him without my permission. So Krishna, being very tricky, he brought Satyabhama with him. And Satyabhama is the person from who Bhudevi expands. So when Satyabhama was with him on the back of Garuda, then what happened? And Bhaumasura started to attack Krishna. Satyabhama said, kill him. And Krishna said, thank you for giving me permission. Mataji. So Krishna killed him. So by bad, look what happened. Good guy, good genes. Who has better genes than Krishna and Bhudevi put together? The Krishna gene. Krishna's son, he became demon. On the other hand, there's stories of demoniac people, or demons, although I'm not supposed to say that, who became great devotees. You know Valmiki, the author of the Ramayana. He was a dacoit. He was, and at least in the Valmiki Ramayana, his name was Ratnagara. And he was killing people, robbing them, until the Sapta Rishis gave him some reason not to do that. And they gave him this mantra, Mara, 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 and he chanted, Ram, Mara, Mara, Mara. Became Ram, 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 Ram. And because he was chanting Ram, 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 he was associating with God, with Krishna. Because Namachintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigra Punashuddha Nityamukto Vinatvam Namanamino. The name of Krishna, the name of Ram is non-different than Ram and Krishna. Just like there's some story in the Ramayana where Hanuman got the benediction where Ram's name would be more powerful than Ram. Some of you may have heard that story. Very interesting story, which I'm not going to tell right now. So it was by association he became a great personality. And of course, Agrari the hunter, another story from the Vedic literatures, half-killing animals, became a great devotee. Haridas Thakur in the modern day and age was able to turn a prostitute around. She became a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by association. So association works both ways. It can either turn one in the wrong direction or turn one in the right direction. I act like my own case. Okay, let's be personal about this. In my own case, I was just a standard, whatever it was, student or whatever. And of course, I was a vegetarian for years before. I wasn't that demoniac. You know, I have to be embarrassed about my past. So anyway, so I was listening to the radio one day, just innocently trying to be in Maya. Innocent, Maya. Trying to enjoy this material energy. And then all of a sudden, who came on the radio with Prabhupada? All of a sudden there was the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna. And I have to do something. Krishna consciousness. You know, so it changed my whole life. Just hearing, like that verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sarva Siddhi Hoy, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. So, just by a little association, Lavamatra means like 1/11 of a second, one can become perfect. So I didn't become perfect, but it started me on the path. Brahmanda Brahmate Konna Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi Bhai Bhakti Lata Bij. Like I got the Bhakti Lata Bij, and then a short time later, here I am. It's only 55 years later. So anyway, so look at the value of association. And Prabhupada, one of the things Prabhupada stressed as far as association is concerned is basically what people eat. Now you would think eating, what does eating have to do with association? I can understand hearing, I can understand making friendship, I can understand music, but what you eat. What's interesting, if you study Ayurveda, that's the Vedic system of medicine, which is based on prevention more than cure, you'll find out that when you eat something, it becomes transformed through a series of transformations to blood. And the blood is that which carries what? Consciousness. So you got to be careful who you get a transfusion from. You go to the hospital as a nice devotee and you come out like as a Rakshasa. Not really. I haven't seen that happen. So the blood carries the consciousness in the body. Or it's essential. I know we have a nervous system. I also studied Western medicine too. But still, it's essential. It carries an element of consciousness. So one has to be really careful about their association. Just like you come here to the Krishna conscious movement on Sunday, and you get very enlivened. And you feel really good about life. You take the prasadam that's offered to the deities, and just feel, wow. And then you go back home and you watch your Bollywood movie, and you feel like blah. Because then you're associating with the mode of passion. Bollywood movies means that there's some romance, and they end up dancing in the Bombay railway station at the end of the Bollywood movie. Then some circular dance. Anybody who's been to the Bombay railway station knows you don't dance in the Bombay railway station. I mean, you wear a mask, you do all sorts of things to protect yourself, but you don't dance in the station. Devotees may when they do Harinam Kirtan in the Bombay railway station. So then, you see, your association affects you tremendously, affects all of us tremendously. All right, so I said I was going to talk about ABCDs. That's an introduction to the topic, which we basically have 15 more minutes to talk about. It's supposed to go to 6:30, right? Oh my God. So there's you friends from India, you move to the Western world and you retain a lot of your culture. And to a certain extent, there's two issues. Those of you who have children are really not completely aware of what the children come in contact with at the university. And actually at the grade schools and whatever, high schools. You think school, very, very nice. That's one thing. There's two issues. What they come in contact with insofar as the activities that may be considered irreligious. And the other thing is the differences in cultural expectations. For example, all of us, and I'm including myself right now, because I was brought up, I'm an ABCD too, as much as I don't look like one. But I was brought up in the same exact culture. Because my culture, from the Jewish family, and the people in India who are born in Gujarat are called the Indian Jews, right? So same exact thing. In fact, probably more guilt trips than any of you have ever experienced. And more, I'll give you an example. When I joined the Krishna consciousness movement, I got a call from someone who's a friend of my mother's, and she said, "Your mother is dying." And why? Because you joined the Krishna consciousness movement. I said, oh my God. Of course, because I was young, I took it a little different way. I said, well, if she thinks of me and she'll be Krishna conscious and she dies in such a fashion, she'll go back to home, back to Godhead. I recited the verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam, Yajati Ante Kalevaram, Tam Tame Vaiti Kontiya Siddhata Bhava. Because my inspiration was Shripad Madhvacharya. Anyone's heard of Madhvacharya from Udupi? Anyone there? Everyone here from Udupi or no? So what happened is Madhvacharya was 9 years old, and he had his guru had an interesting way of cultivating him. He would give him sweets all the time. So nowadays you got to give your disciples pizza all the time. Cultivate. So he got addicted. So he said, I'm going to take sannyas. And his father said, you can't because you're our only son and we're too old to have any more children. So he made a deal with his father that if you can have another son, which was basically impossible, they were in their 60s or something, can I take sannyas? His father said, yeah. So they had another son, Madhvacharya, headed for the hills, took sannyas at about 11. So that was my inspiration. Madhvacharya. So, of course, I'm not like Madhvacharya, I'm not a main acharya. So I'm not anything like that. So basically, I was brought up with these guilt trips. If you really love me, you would do this. My son would never get less than an A in school. You have to become a doctor. Anyone's heard that before? You have to become a doctor. And if you don't listen to us, you're going to end up driving a rickshaw. Of course, my mother didn't say rickshaw. She probably said taxi, which is the American version of rickshaw. It's a taxi walla. So, basically, I know the culture because that's my culture too. The similar type of, you have to listen to your parents, be obedient. Okay, so fast forward, your children are brought up in a culture that's completely different from my culture. Cultures change, not only according to the country, they change according to the time. Like American culture was similar to a certain extent to Indian culture 30 years ago, 40, 50 years ago. So, therefore, your children are having a different experience than you have. They're having different association than you had. They're exposed to things in the school that were unimaginable to you when you were going to school. And I don't know if we still have a few ABCDs left here, Oh, there's one. It's a little old to be an ABCD. So we'd like to, anyway, so from those two angles of vision, one angle is the horrible things that go on, they're unbelievable. You get social pressure. You have to do these. If you want a friend, social pressure, it's very important for the children to have friends. If you want to be a friend to anyone, you want to have friends, you got to do what they're doing. Otherwise, you get credit. Children are sometimes extremely cruel to each other. It's somehow or other, it's like that. They have not developed that sense of empathy, many of them, at that point. So they're extremely cruel. Someone doesn't conform. Even I got criticized for wearing glasses when I was young. People would call me four eyes. Four eyes? Means glasses and two eyes. And so there's pressure to conform to do these activities, which you're talking about illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, meat eating. I was just giving a similar presentation in another temple about a week ago, that's true. And I heard things that I didn't even know about. One of the devotees, one of my disciples, who's now doing quite well, he has a PhD from Cambridge. That's one of the things that I do, is that when I do our university preaching and other preaching at the schools, we encourage people to continue their education. Regardless of what you may have heard about the Krishna conscious movement, we don't encourage people to drop out. We encourage to continue. I have many disciples who've gotten there, become doctors. I'm like a Jewish mother. Or a Gujarati mother. I've had many disciples who I just push, you got to become a doctor. You'll never lack patience, especially if you become a psychiatrist. And many who have become, like this one disciple got his PhD from Cambridge. So I was just speaking to his parents the other day, and his parents didn't understand what he was going through. They said, Swamiji, we don't understand why our son is so conservative. He won't even go to the movies with us. Something like that, not exactly that. Won't even go to the movies. He won't go for a vacation in the Bahamas. He just wants to eat prasadam. So I said, what have you done to him, Swamiji? This is a boy who has a PhD from Cambridge. He's still, anyway, whatever. So therefore, I told them, I said, do you realize that we had to pick up your kid from the degradation, I'm not going to explain the details, of what he had gotten into at the university. He said, for India, obviously. And we had to encourage him, give him Krishna consciousness, give him association, and now he's just like happy as a lark. Don't you want him to be happy? So then they say, oh, we didn't know this. We thought he was always perfect. He did not show us we were wondering why he did not show us his report card from the university. He said, now you know. Because when he met us, then he started doing well. That's example of association. So don't think your children are going to be spoiled by association with the Hare Krishna movement. Because we want intelligent, independently thoughtful people in the Krishna conscious movement. So put aside that worry. But the worry should be, is if they don't come in contact with Krishna consciousness, what's going to happen? Okay, so Mr. ABCD, can you tell us some of the things you've experienced that people do, there's pressure that people are put under at the university? Is there a microphone? Another microphone? Or? Microphone. I mean, while we're waiting to get a microphone, I could just explain what someone else told me when we were doing this presentation before. He said he couldn't believe how many kids were watching illicit things on the phone on a regular basis. Were addicted. How many young boys were addicted to this? Watching, am I right? You heard about that before? They were addicted to watching bad things on the phone. I'm not going to mention what it was because it's a temple room. So, there's that's going on in society in general. I mean, the children in general. And the children are our most vulnerable class of persons. So, what was your experience about the degradation? Of course, you're a little older. Yeah. Stay in each other's rooms. Yeah. I will have you must have a girl now because you have a son, right? Do you have a son? Is that your son? You must have found a girl. That's a joke. Yeah.
And then food, I know that most the interaction between things that we're not using now and all the time. But I would say now, then we wasn't at the food
And did you also experience that amongst the students who had family from India too?
Yeah. They were
Yeah. And what you're explaining happens, of course, you were homeschooled, right? So you didn't have the grade school or anything experience. So what you're explaining happens in the grade school and in what to speak of the high school. So it's not something that suddenly pops into being at the university level. And so that's one aspect. I don't want to get into the gory details about it, but the children are exposed to that every day. And like you mentioned, the security guard thought you were really weird. And that's just the hired guy, the security guard. What's wrong with this guy? He needs psychological help. So that's one aspect. And the other aspect is just the cultural, let us say, interactions with one's family. Because in America, one is brought up to be rather rebellious. One of the reasons Prabhupada came to America is because we're rebellious. Now that may sound strange. Now the interesting thing is when Prabhupada came, we weren't rebellious with Prabhupada. That is the most interesting thing. With our parents, we were extremely rebellious. In fact, the whole generation that I was brought up in, which is like the hippie generation, was a generation of rebellion against the status quo. We don't want to have two cars in each garage or a big house. Because later on, all those people got into those things. But anyway, that's another issue. But so it was like extreme rebellion. What's it called? Anti-disestablishmentarianism or something like that. So because of that, that's the culture. Prabhupada came to America. He understood, because when he went to India and he put an advertisement in the newspaper, please give me one of your sons. You have 8 sons. Everybody wants to have a son in India because that's your old age insurance. In America, your sons may not be your old age insurance. I have one disciple, where is that? New Zealand. Indian family too. These are all stories of people from Indian families. And she got her son married. That's right, her son, a couple. It was a couple, actually, who got their son married to another Indian girl. And they said, well, we understand our son is going to take care of us for the rest of the life. Good. Give our son our property, so we don't have to go through this whole rigmarole of, inheriting the property and everything. He'll take care of us. So what they did is they put the mother and the father in the garage of the house. And when I went to visit them, they didn't want the devotees coming to talk to their mother and father. And so they took out a DRO, a standing order against a order the devotees couldn't go to see. And then they took out a legal order against their other daughter, their other sister, who couldn't come to see her parents. Eventually, they both passed away, the older people. So this is the influence of the culture. I mean, it's really, really insidious. So anyway, getting back to why Prabhupada came to the Western world, because part of that culture is that people may be rejecting the parents in that culture, which is not good, because Krishna says in the Gita, austerities of the body are to give respects to one's father and mother and guru and worshipable personalities. That's the austerity of the body. Krishna himself says that you should honor your father and your mother. Just like in the Western tradition of the Bible, it says you should honor your father and mother, right? But still, people didn't listen to that. So anyway, Prabhupada came. Prabhupada purified us by our association. And not only did we follow Prabhupada, but we got enthusiastic and loyal to Prabhupada, and then our real love and obedience to our parents came out. I mean, I would say that my love for my parents really blossomed after I joined the Krishna consciousness movement. Besides that, before that, I was in a state of rebellion because of the culture. You know, American culture, cowboys, Indians. But one nice thing about American culture is that Americans tend to be very adventurous, risk-taking, because all their needs are met. Like if you're in a place where all your needs are met, you don't have to worry about becoming a rickshaw walla. You know, even the parents might tell you you're going to become a taxi driver. Okay, they make a lot of money in America. They do. They may make more money than you do as working in the tech fields. And half of the money is black money. You know, black money, number 2. None of you know what that is. So half of the money is number 2 because it's tips. You know, I knew one girl worked as a waitress. She was making hundreds of dollars a night. Not taxable. So anyway, so Prabhupada came to a place where people were naturally adventurous, like cowboys, ready to give up everything and go to any corner of the world to carry out a mission. That's why Prabhupada picked America. So there's an upside to it. I mean, there's a positive side to it, and there's a downside. So all of you who are parents need to be aware of the downside from those 2 angles of vision. And the question is, maybe we should have another ABCD testify. Do you swear to tell the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you Krishna? No. Is there any other ABCDs who want to give their experience? No? You're all shy. You're an ABCD. So, what was your experience? Just what? Yeah, details. Yeah, you were normal, but what did you see? Oh, so you were a nerd. That's good. Sounds like me. I was a nerd too. So, oh. That's an unusual child. So, but anyway, the point is, so what's the solution? What is the solution to avoid these pitfalls with your children? First of all, the bad association, and second of all, the difference in culture. The solution is association in Krishna consciousness, like to establish Sunday schools here, even if your child is not being homeschooled or schooled in a Hare Krishna school, to have your child go to a Krishna consciousness Sunday school, make friendships because children need friendships, and associate with those who are Krishna conscious. And also, more important than anything else for children, is to have a role model. Like Prabhupada was my role model, because I joined when I was a child. You know, I'm like 21 years old. That's a child. And so Prabhupada was my role model, someone I wanted to be like when I grow up. I don't know if I've grown up yet. But when I grow up, I want to be like Prabhupada. And so having that role model for the children is very powerful. Very, very powerful. So in Krishna consciousness, we have real heroes. As stated by Krishna, by Lord Kapila, Satam prasangan mama virya sambado bhavanti vritkarna rasayana gata to joshanadashu apavarga vartmani shradavratir bhakti anukramishati. So when one associates with the devotees, prasangam mama virya sambada. And here's about Krishna's heroic activities. There's Krishna, your hero. Again. Like first time I heard about Krishna, Krishna. Because I'm not inclined towards heroic activities, so I learned about Krishna's rascal activities. What was his rascal activity? Stealing butter, feeding it to monkeys. First thing I read in Prabhupada's books. Krishna was so kind to me. Instead of reading about the killing and everything like that, pick up Krishna book. Here's a little blue boy who steals butter and feeds it to monkeys and makes his mother upset with him. And even though I didn't know the philosophy, I became so attracted to him. He was my hero. Someone who steals butter, feeds it to monkeys, and especially makes his mother upset. So he was my hero. You know, there's something in Krishna consciousness for every child to be attracted to. You know, whether it's playing the drums or Krishna, especially Krishna's pastimes, great devotees, sannyasis, heroes. And then the children can actually overcome the influence of the age of Kali, which is progressing very, very quickly. So we have the solution. As I said, in our practical experience of dealing with people going to the university, especially people from the Indian background who go to the university, it works. It works. And so we have to give that good association. It's your responsible. As Lord Rishabhadev says, no one should become a mother or father or worshipful deity unless they can save their dependents from the cycle of birth and death. If your child succumbs to Krishna's illusory energy, that's your responsibility. So we're giving you a way to save your child, both materially and spiritually. And so please take that up. So I think we went over time. So any questions or comments about any of these points? Anybody have any questions? Comments? Because in your next life, you may be an ABCD. All of you, any of us, if we're born in Kali Yuga, we're going to be ABCDs in the next life. Yeah.
There's always a benefit in keeping the state of the focus. In this way, we fast forward. But some person may feel that maybe have that as well. I didn't engage that.
Talk to me. I'll tell you what you missed. I mean, I didn't party. For some reason or other. I mean, Krishna protected me. I have to be honest about my background. Krishna protected me, not because I listened to my parents. Krishna protected me because I was extremely shy, which people find hard to believe nowadays. Because by Prabhupada's mercy, I was able to overcome my shyness and become proud. That's a joke. Hopefully not. So they can speak to me. They can speak to some people. I can tell them who to speak to. Because an intelligent person learns by what? Hearing. A stupid person, learns by doing. And a complete idiot doesn't learn after doing. So hear from people who know about the culture. I mean, I know a lot from direct experience and from talking to people and dealing with people all the time at the university level. I know what's going on. And it's shocking to me. And then you could see the result of what it does to people long term. I mean, what do you want to do with your life? We miss out on a lot of things. I mean, I never went bungee jumping either. But I'm not going to risk my life. There's a lot of things I never did in life, and I don't care. The reason one wants to have all these different experiences in life because they're not satisfied, their needs are not being met. Krishna consciousness, when it's properly applied, not fanatically applied, can help us satisfy all of our basic needs. And then there's why? I mean, just like I have people want to experience all these things. I have one disciple who wanted to go, she's an older lady. She wanted to go see the icebergs in Alaska. So she went. People want to have all these experiences. What is it called? A bucket list? Where one has a, tick off this, tick off that of the bucket list. So it's an iceberg in Alaska. It's just like an ice cube in your glass of water. Want to see an iceberg? You just look at your glass of water real closely, you see an iceberg. Or just take National Geographic and look at some pictures of it or on the internet. This is called chewing the chewed. Trying to experience the same thing over and again. Think you're going to squeeze some pleasure out of bubble gum, a gum that's been chewed on 10,000 times before. I mean, I can tell you from personal experience, there's unlimited happiness in Krishna consciousness. Tushanti cha ramanti cha. Isn't it? Majjata majjata prana paryantas cha parasparan. Katyantas jamam nicham. Tushanti cha ramanti cha. Because I went through this whole culture. And I can say there's so much happiness, so much satisfaction, that every day I thank Krishna. I've been doing the same thing for 55 years. And every day I thank Krishna. Thank you. I don't know how I got this good fortune. I don't know what I did to deserve this good fortune. Thank you, Prabhupada. Wow. I'm overwhelmed with what I've been given. Okay, so there's another question. The question or no? Yeah, one more question because then we have to end. Okay, time limited.
And thank you Maharaj, for your association for the past few days. We were very fortunate to have you here.
Okay, thank you. Prabhupada ki jai. It's all by the mercy of Prabhupada that we're here. Without Prabhupada's mercy, I don't know where any one of us would be at this point. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Okay.
And Maharaj's book, Empathic Communication, Maharaj has said that it is very valuable for all of us. So we can please the book from there, and that is time for you. Because of the dedication that we have, you will take now so, they are celebrating their anniversary, and they are in life or almost every month in the so each year we come and see the second family is Parmeshwari Rajendra and family they are Vasudeva Krishna. And then Vijay by celebrating their anniversary. As always, whether it is a celebration or memory of the departed or any kind of sponsorship, we always have something. So I'm grateful for that. Yes, You can ask me, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna.
Thank you. And you. You should have told me that. Which was what? Thank you, bro. It's okay, bro. I'll play. I'll play. What? What's that? Sing like that. Sing like that. Let me fix.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.